So again, to quote Nietzsche, you have your way, I have my way. As for the right way, the correct way, and the only way, it does not exist. So Nietzsche was really the first philosopher that just hammered all this notion of morality and truth and science and this is the way it is. No, 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 it's much more gay than that. It just doesn't work. It's not so easy as there's one right way. This is usually, and then, well, of course, many built on it, but mostly Michel Foucault, the structure of power imposing a nature of reality. So in a company, how do I say that? Well, there's some part of the world that we both know. Again, I can't really use ontological argument, so I use a psychological argument, which is much more palatable for people in business because it's obvious. I mean, you'll see this thing I say now, it's obvious to every business person. You don't need to talk about dead philosophers to make this argument. So there's stuff I know and you know. It's what we've shared with one another and any mutually observable or public information. That's the world that's common to both of us. But then there's all this other stuff that I know and you don't know. So no matter how good you are, you don't know my private data, stuff that I've seen and you haven't seen, how I feel about it, what matters to me, what intentions do I have, what are my standards, what am I trying to achieve, and so on and so forth. You just have no clue. Unless I tell you, you cannot know these things. It's obvious. By the same token, I don't know your private data and emotions and concerns and all that, and I really don't know the impact of my actions on you. I don't know what I do. I mean, I do something, but how this affects you is not obvious at all. So most of people say, if I tell you something, that's enough for you to hear me and understand what I'm saying. But that's not true. What I say is not what people understand. And what you say is not what I understand. So unless we have a meta-dialogue, a dialogue about our dialogue, we will never get to understand each other. Plus there's all sorts of stuff neither of us knows, and we have to ask. So this is a psychological way. When someone says, an example, people go to the doctor. Imagine someone goes to the doctor and says, doctor, please help me. Well, what's wrong? Well, I don't know, you're the expert. Well, but you have to tell me, why did you come? Oh, because I want to feel good. Okay, but where do you feel bad? I don't know, you're the expert. You tell me. No matter how good a doctor you are, you cannot work with that. It's not a matter of expertise. It's just a matter of information. No, the best doctor in the world cannot just guess what is ailing the patient. So it's very important, this communication between patient and doctor, to understand what's going on. Now, most doctors are not trained like that. I work with doctors and hospitals, and it is a serious problem. I mean, there's a lot of terrible suffering and pain because, doctors don't talk to nurses, nurses don't talk to patients, patients don't talk to anyone. I mean, it's just the lack of communication. And everybody believes, I know what's going on. I know what's going on. I know what's going on. So a couple of recommendations. In the US, people like to say, don't get mad, get even. So I try to teach people something different. It's don't get mad, get curious. Instead of calling the other person an idiot and wanting to push them out of the meeting so you can get your way, well, just get curious. Why do they see the world so dramatically different? What are they seeing that I'm not seeing? They could be wrong. I mean, they could be making a logical error, or they may be believing facts that are not so. I mean, it's possible. But it's also possible that they could be seeing something that I don't see. Or they may have information that I don't have. Or they may have goals that are competing with mine. So if I just get mad and disqualify them, calling them idiots, I'm going to miss not only the chance to learn, but I'm going to miss the chance to include their narrative and include their energy into the work. And the other is you must love the truth more than you love your face. See, we have a problem of knowers, is that when you're a knower, everything becomes about your identity. No, it's an issue of self-esteem. You want to be right. So loving the truth more than your face is any truth. Any opinion, any perspective, you have to love it more than your face and accept the possibility that that is valid. You are not the only one that has a valid perspective. Those two things, part of the knower learner, can shift the way people have conversations, they make decisions, they take action, they coordinate, they negotiate everything in an organization. It makes a radical shift. And this is another phrase people use in business. And I say, well, it's not what you don't know that will kill you. It's what you think you know, but it's not so. And that's the danger of the learner. The learner says, I know what everybody ought to think. I don't care what they think. I know what you should think because I'm right, and you can either agree with me or be wrong. So why waste our time letting you speak? I'm just going to tell you what you need to think. And that generally is what destroys organizations. So I want to pose this as a question for all of us to consider. Is it possible to lead from this perspective of ontological humility? Would you follow a banner when someone says, I don't know. I want us to find out together. Remember the 3 questions of leadership. Where are we? I don't know. We have to figure this out together. We have to talk about it because even the question is not well defined. Where are we going? Well, I don't know. We have to talk about it. I mean, I can't tell everybody where we're going. We have to discuss it. And how are we going to get there? Well, I don't know. We have to talk about it. What do you think? What do you know? What's happening in your side of the world? And then we'll discuss it together. This guy didn't know and he got pretty far. So, just one possibility of answering the question, is it possible to operate with humility? Socrates was, in a strange way, humble. He was deconstructively humble. He wasn't just humble, he would humble other people by asking powerful questions that would show nobody knows. That, it's impossible to define things like courage or virtue or generosity in the abstract sense. So what I'd like to do is have some time for discussion and questions. My request is that people work in trios. That will give everybody a chance to just to chew on this, have some ideas, maybe share what you think about the conference or what I said. So let's try these multiple perspectives. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. But in trios, to just see what stood out for you from whatever you heard. And if there's a question, what would you be interested in discussing? So we'll take about 10 minutes for this trio discussion, and then I'll take another 10 minutes or so of questions from the trios. Okay? Go ahead, please.